Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jackson's Math Notebook. This is the first video in a series of videos related to two-step equations and how to solve them. A two-step equation typically has a variable. A variable is a letter that is hiding a number. Now, we have three examples right here to show you how to find that number that is hiding behind that letter. We have 4c plus 3 equals 11. We have 9a minus 7 equals a negative 7, and 3x plus 44 equals 50, and we're going to solve these equations. We're going to go a little slow because this is our introduction to algebra, and two-step equations is exactly what it is. It takes two steps to arrive at the right answer. And so we're going to take our time by doing these problems, and I'll explain it along the way. One of the first things that your algebra teacher is going to tell you to do is to get your variables on one side and your numbers on the other side of the equation. Sometimes your teacher might ask you if whenever possible to get your variables on the left side and get your numbers on the right side, although it's not necessary all the time, but it is a helpful way to approach two-step equations. And so with that in mind, let's get started with 4c plus 3 is equal to 11. Since we're going to get our variables on one side of the equation, our variable c on one side of the equation, and our numbers on the other side, we have a plus 3. We're going to have to subtract 3 from both sides to make that happen. And so now we have a 3 take away 3, and an 11 take away 3. And we're going to bring down our 4c. And since we have a 3 take away 3, we're just going to write the equal sign because it doesn't really make sense to write 4c plus 0 is equal to 11 minus 3. So we're just going to write 4c is equal to what 11 minus 3 is, which is 8. And so now let's think of this in a conceptual way. Well, what number times 4 will give us 8? So what number is hiding behind c that we know will give us the answer 8 when we multiply 4 times that number? You already have it in your mind, and that's good. But here is the official way, or the way that your math teacher is going to want you to do it, because the problems are going to get harder a little bit sooner rather than later. And so your math teacher or your algebra teacher is going to tell you to divide both sides by the number that is next to the variable. And in this case, we're going to divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 would give us a 1, or 1c, or just c. So it's redundant to say 1c, so we'll just simply say c is equal to 8 divided by 4, which is 2. And so we know that c is equal to 2, but however, it is good to check your answers. And so let's check our answers to see if 2 is actually the right answer. And so we're going to replace that c with the number 2. And then we're going to add 3 to it. And let's check and see if that equals 11. 4 times 2 gives us 8. 8 plus 3 gives us 11. Yes, it works. 8, or I should say 2 is the correct answer for this two-step equation. And let's move on to 9a minus 7 is equal to a negative 7. And what we're going to do, we're going to have our variable on one side of the equation while putting our numbers on the other side. And we'll do that by adding a 7 to both sides. Again, whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. And now we have 9a is equal to 0. And the good news is that this is an easy one, because one of our math rules tells us is that any number times 0 will equal 0. So a must be 0. And if we plug it in, If we plug it back into our equation, we will see that 9 times 0 minus 7 will equal to a -7, because 9 times 0 is 0. And of course, a -7 is equal to a -7. And let us go to our final example, in which we have 3x plus 44 is equal to 50. And we're going to subtract 44 from both sides because we want to get the variable on one side and the numbers on the other side. And in this case, we have a 44 take away 44, leaving just 3x is equal to 50 minus 44, which is 6. And what we're going to do in this case, again, we're going to divide by the number that is next to the variable 3, and we're going to divide 3 by both sides. And we will see that 3 divided by 3 will give us 1x, or x, and 6 divided by 3 will give us 2. And when we plug 2 back into our equation, we have 3 times 2 plus 44, and that would give us 50, because we know that 3 times 2 is 6, plus 44 will give us 50. Well, there you have it. There's our introduction to two-step equations. I hope you enjoyed the video, but in the meantime, please comment, share, like, and subscribe to Jackson's Math Notebook for more content. Thank you, and goodbye.